now that we know the two factors that will help us determine whether a good is a public good or not, now we have to analyze how is this really a market failure, right? Now we can understand from our past two factors that producers are disincentivized from producing the good, right? Why would I want to produce a good where the cost, where the price that I have to set it at is zero, and where I can't stop other non-paid consumers from consuming that good, right? Well, there are a few ways to get around this. First of all, is this thing called the Lindahl equilibrium. Now, this is something outside the H2 syllabus, but any good economist will want to know about. Let's say I was to implement a Lindahl tax. Right? That means that each person would pay the marginal benefit of consumption of that good. Now, let's say I was to go to the park, and I, looking at the trees, hearing the birds, I decide I get $4 of benefit for the good. I would pay $4 back to the producer for my consumption of the good. And let's say each consumer was to pay as such, we would be assuming that the cost of production of the good would be covered. And this leaves both the producer and consumer very happy. Now, this is a fantastic economic concept, but in reality, can it really hold, right? I can come in and I can get $100 worth of benefit, but let's say I was to go and claim, I only get 50 cents worth of benefit, right? Who wouldn't want to say such a thing, right? I get better off. Now, this is the problem with the Lindahl equilibrium. It doesn't hold in reality. Now, another solution, which is what normally happens in society, is government provision. Basically, government says, look, society is better off with this good. Society does well with this good, and therefore I see that this good should be produced in the market. And it comes in and produces the good, and it covers the cost through taxes that are implemented in society. Right? Now, this is what happens for national defense, for public amenities, and many other services that are produced by the government. So this is how the good is produced in the market. Alternatively, the goods may be produced not through the price mechanism, right? The price mechanism basically states that I, as a consumer, would pay for the good and I will receive the good back in return, right? It's basically an exchange. But the producer may earn the income or may cover the cost through alternative revenue streams. So let's take the example of a radio broadcasting company, right? People don't actually pay to hear the radio. What happens is that advertising companies basically pay for the advertisements that appear over the radio. And this is basically how the radio broadcasting companies earn the revenue to cover the cost. And this is what we call an alternative revenue stream. So now we can see how public goods exist as a market failure in society and how it needs to be covered, right? And this is one of the more exciting topics, and there are a lot more things to be played about, right? Let's say a good was not rivalrous, but it was excludable, right? Or let's say the good was non-excludable but rivalrous, right? What happens in these scenarios? These are actually a whole range of other kinds of goods that exist in society, and I would recommend that you go out and read about them. And we'll carry on with other kinds of market failure. The next kind is imperfect competition, and I'll see you there.